3:02 a.m., the moment the door shattered, and a man in a fake HOA security vest stormed into our home. Our lives changed forever. My name's Jalen Carter, and that night I learned one thing. Power can wear a uniform, but it doesn't always carry a badge. It started with a crash, a flashlight, and a lie. The man said he was HOA security, but his eyes were twitching like someone caught between guilt and fear. What he didn't know? My son was home. A U.S. Marine. 2 shots hit the floor before anyone could breathe. And that fake cop dropped like a puppet whose strings got cut. That night wasn't just about breaking in, it was about exposing a hidden network, a real estate trap disguised as community safety. Tonight, I'll tell you everything. How the HOA turned into a private militia. How they tried to silence us. And how one family's quiet revenge brought an empire down. Asterisk, my name's Jalen Carter, 59 years old, ex-construction foreman, and I thought I'd seen every kind of mess a man can walk into. But nothing prepares you for hearing your own front door explode in the middle of the night. It was 3:02 a.m., I was halfway down the stairs, still holding the glass of water I'd gone to get, when the lock gave out with a sound like thunder. The air pressure changed. The whole house felt different, heavier, colder. Then I heard it. HOA, security, stay where you are. The words didn't sound official. They sounded rehearsed, like someone trying too hard to sound in control. A flashlight beam slashed through the hallway. The man holding it wore a black vest with HOA enforcement stitched in crooked letters. No badge, no name tag, just gear you could buy online for $50. I froze halfway down the stairs. You got the wrong house, I said. Before I could move, my son Liam appeared at the top landing. He'd just come back from deployment. 28 years old, built like a tank. As Stillwater. When he saw the vest and the weapon, his voice dropped low and steady. Put it down. The fake cop twitched. His hand jerked toward the flashlight like he meant to swing it. Liam moved first. 2 shots hit the hardwood, controlled and precise. A warning only a Marine could deliver. The intruder froze. His knees buckled, and the gun-shaped flashlight clattered across the floor. He raised his hands and started stammering. Don't shoot, don't shoot. When the real police finally showed up, the story unraveled fast. The guy's name was Barry Pinter, 29, already on probation for fraud. He'd been hired, or so he claimed, by Lewin County Tactical Solutions, a so-called HOA security contractor. But when my wife Judy looked it up, the company didn't exist. No license, no office, no staff. Just a P.O. box tied to a single name, Karen Henderson. Our HOA president. Karen, the same woman who'd been sending violation letters for months. Fines for unauthorized mailbox paint, grass height, improper lighting. Half the neighborhood hated her, but no one had proof she was doing anything illegal. Until that night. The morning after, our driveway looked like a war zone. Police tape, reporters, HOA board members, whispering behind sunglasses. Karen showed up, all crocodile tears and fake concern. Jalen, I'm so sorry about this misunderstanding. That man wasn't affiliated with our association. I just looked at her and said, then why does he have your name on his paycheck? Her face went pale. She turned away, muttering something about calling the insurance company. That's when I knew. She was hiding something bigger. So Judy and I started digging. We pulled every letter, every notice, every so-called violation from the past year. We made copies and labeled them. We went door to door, talking to neighbors. What we found was a pattern. Homeowners fined until they were broke. Properties mysteriously sold at below market value. And guess who bought them back? Henderson Home Renovations LLC, owned by Karen herself. It was a perfect con. Use fake fines and intimidation to drive people out. Flip the homes under a shell company, then sell for profit. But we still needed proof. Video proof. So Liam set up cameras. Motion activated, hidden inside a birdhouse and behind the mailbox. For 2 weeks, nothing. Then one night around 11:30, the camera caught her, Karen Henderson herself, slipping envelopes into mailboxes under the cover of darkness. No car, no flashlight, just gloves and AHOODIE. The next morning, those envelopes officially arrived as HOA violation notices. We had her, but Judy wanted to go further. We don't just expose her, she said. We show everyone what kind of machine she's running. So we built a binder. Every document, time-stamped photo, and bank record we could find. Liam traced money transfers from the HOA account to Henderson Home Renovations. Over $280,000 in maintenance reimbursements. Every trail led back to Karen. We knew she'd strike again, and we were ready for it. A week later, another notice came in our mailbox. Unauthorized exterior lighting, $1,200 fine. It was bait. We installed another hidden camera facing the street. At 2:17 a.m., a white SUV stopped. Karen stepped out again, this time with Barry Pinter's partner, a man named Deshaun Rains only. They didn't know Liam was watching from the porch. He walked out slow, no weapon, just a phone recording. Good evening, HOA, he said. You lost, or just breaking and entering again. Karen froze. Deshaun bolted back into the SUV. The engine revved. tires squealed, and they vanished into the dark. By dawn, the footage was online, shared with every neighbor, every reporter, and even the county inspector's office. That was the night the HOA war truly began. By sunrise, the video had already spread across the neighborhood like wildfire. Karen Henderson, the self-proclaimed queen of our HOA, caught red-handed, stuffing fake fines into people's mailboxes in the middle of the night. Every neighbor who'd been bullied, fined, or humiliated by her finally had proof. The comments under the video were brutal. "That's my house she hit last week. I knew it was a scam. She's been doing this for years." But Karen didn't back down. Not yet. By noon, she'd called an emergency HOA meeting at the clubhouse. Every board member was there, pretending nothing had happened. Cameras were not allowed. Reporters were banned. I went anyway. When I walked in, the room went silent. Karen stood at the front with that fake smile she wore like armor. "Mr. Carter," she said coldly, "you and your family have caused unnecessary panic in this community. You're spreading misinformation." I held up the binder 2 inches thick, full of evidence. "Then you won't mind if we go through this misinformation line by line, on record?" Her jaw tightened. "This isn't a courtroom." "No," I said, "but it will be soon." That's when she snapped. "You don't understand how things work here, Jay. The HOA has authority. You signed the rules." I stepped closer, voice steady. "We signed to keep lawns trimmed, not to fund your real estate scams." The room broke into whispers. One board member stood up, then another. A man from across the table said quietly, "Karen, is this true? Did you start that renovation company under your name?" She glared at him. "You think I did this alone?" That one line told us everything. That evening, Karen vanished. Her house, the biggest one in the cul-de-sac, went dark. Her car was gone, but Liam wasn't done yet. He wanted to finish it clean. He traced her email through one of the HOA servers. Turns out, she'd been forwarding inspection reports and financial records to a private investor in Austin, a man named Daniel Ross, who had a long history of flipping foreclosed homes. That all connected. Karen faked violations, forced sales through intimidation, sold properties cheap to Ross's firm, split profits under fake maintenance reimbursements. It was bigger than just a neighborhood scam. It was organized fraud. So we set the final trap. We leaked a rumor online that the county would be freezing all HOA bank accounts pending investigation. 2 days later, at 2:40 a.m., our cameras picked up motion again. The same white SUV. Karen was back. She went straight to the clubhouse, carrying a large black case. Liam and I watched from the truck, night vision camera rolling. She unlocked the door, turned on the light, and started emptying the office drawers. Hard drives, folders, envelopes of cash, all going into the case. Liam whispered. "She's collecting her escape kit." That's when the second car showed up, a gray BMW. Daniel Ross himself stepped out. We didn't interrupt. We filmed everything. Inside, they argued. The mic barely picked it up through the glass. But one line came through clear as day. "Ross, you told me the kid didn't have proof." "Karen, he wasn't supposed to. I paid that cop to scare them, not start a damn war." That was enough. Liam dialed 911. Within minutes, county deputies surrounded the clubhouse. Karen tried to run out the back door, but slipped on the wet pavement and went down hard. Ross froze as the lights hit him. The next morning, every local station had the footage. HOA president and real estate investor arrested in fraud sting. Our little neighborhood became ground zero for one of the biggest HOA corruption cases in state history. When the trial began, Karen tried to play the victim. Her lawyer claimed she was pressured by investors and had no control over enforcement decisions. But the evidence spoke for itself. Forged signatures, fake invoices, altered property values. The judge didn't even need the full week. She was sentenced to 9 years in federal prison for fraud, mail tampering, and impersonating law enforcement through her hired security. Ross got 12. Barry Pinter and Deshaun Raines cut plea deals in exchange for testimony. The HOA board was dissolved. Every fine, every lien, every fraudulent sale reversed. But the part that hit hardest wasn't the justice. It was the silence afterward. For the first time in years, our street was quiet. No anonymous letters, no patrol lights, no threats. Just peace. Judy planted new flowers in the yard that week. Liam rebuilt the front door himself, replacing the shattered frame with reinforced oak. On the inside edge, he carved 3 small numbers with a knife to 302. The time our lives changed. A few months later, a reporter came by for an interview. She asked me, "Jalen, what kept you going through all this?" I told her, "When someone uses power to take from others, they count on silence. Once you break that silence, even once they lose their control." She smiled. "And now, I said, "we keep the lights on, not because we're scared, but because we're not hiding anymore." That night, Liam and I sat on the porch watching the streetlights flicker across the quiet cul-de-sac. A couple of neighbors waved as they drove by, people who once wouldn't even look at us for fear of getting fined. Judy brought out 2 cups of coffee and said softly, "Looks like the neighborhood finally came home." Liam smiled. "Guess it just needed a little marine motivation." We all laughed. It wasn't the sound of victory, just relief. The kind that comes when you take your home back from people who thought they owned you. Power hides in plain sight. Sometimes it wears a badge, sometimes a clipboard, but in the end, it only takes one family, one night, and one truth to bring it all crashing down.